This is Crew Tales, Life in the Circus. In the motion picture world, there are an army of dedicated professionals who work behind the scenes to make the movies and shows we watch today. I'm Brad Hodson, and I've spent over 30 years in the motion picture industry. This podcast celebrates the people who make the magic behind the scenes.
Hi, I'm Dustin Chenard. Brad is on set this week, so I'll be talking to Mike Magnusson. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
No problem. So, Mike, how would you describe what it is that you do on film?
You know, even when I was a first assistant director, I always sort of described it the same. And it's a well-used metaphor in film. We herd cats.
That is a good metaphor.
I'm now a PM and producer. So what I do is try and make sure that the director's vision meets the size of the fiscal pond that we have for whatever given project that we're embarking on.
Okay.
And to hire good people to execute that vision, and then hopefully direct them and create an environment in which they can succeed.
Cool. So how is it that you came, I know you started as a first assistant director and now you're producing in PM. How did you start out and what's your story to get to where you are now? In
film. Well, I went to university for 5 years. And then after university, I came out and I signed up as a production assistant in 1993. I was, there were a great many permittee production assistants. I was very fortunate. I was able to carry a 4x8 3/4-inch piece of plywood by myself. And PAs build a lot of plywood highways. So that in itself secured me, gave me some job security. I was passed around from Pascal Verschuras to Craig Forrest to a lovely woman, Ainsley Wiggs, on the X-Files. I was there for about 3 weeks putting down plywood highways, and things changed on set, and suddenly I found myself a key PA on the X-Files about 5 weeks after getting into film.
Oh, wow.
I was really fortunate. And I had good mentors there, like Tommy Braidwood and Catherine Kratz and Colin Ledley, and I had a lot of good mentors there. Made my decisions there that film was somewhere I wanted to stay, and that I wanted to be an assistant director. That seemed to be the position that filled your toolbox the fullest. And then I embarked on that, to climb the AD ladder through trainee assistant director, third assistant, second assistant, to first assistant director in about 8 years. And then was a first assistant director for about 20 years. I loved the role of first assistant director. And worked in everything, features, MOWs, series. I had a deep love for stunt and special effects units, so I did a lot of years of those. Really enjoyed that work. And then I found, I took a sabbatical to care for my parents for a while. And when I came back with a desire to be, I always had a desire to be a producer. I still remember on the X-Files as a PA, JP Finn, a line producer. I was kind of impressed by JP. I liked that role that he was in. And I thought, maybe one day that's the role for me. So when I came back with the idea that hopefully I would upgrade from first AD to PM. I landed on a show about 4 years after I was back with Vicky Southern and Greg Malcolm, who were local executive producers. They've had a service company here for some time. And they were amazing. They put crew first. They were passionate about the projects they made, intelligent with, story and application of how do we execute given the size of our pond. And they didn't cut corners. They just came up with intelligent solutions. So I very quickly decided they were who I wanted to stay with. They had a television series, One Calls the Heart, which they were kind enough to offer me as a first AD. I liked them enough, I took a pay cut because I thought there could be a home here. And turns out there was a home there. Vicky has been an amazing shepherd as a producer. She's mentored me a great deal. 2 years in, she made a deal with Cindy Harmon because I needed to learn movie magic budgeting and accounting for film. I knew production inside and out. To partner with Cindy for 5 movies a week, Lifetime movies a week. Cindy would teach me numbers and everything else. And I would make sure that the floor ran properly when we put everything together, and we got her 5 movies. I learned a great deal from Cindy Harmon. There is no question she returned me to Vicky with some accounting wizardry that I did not possess when I started. And then I started as a When Calls the Heart PM.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of years in that, the showrunner, John Tinker, then upgraded me, and Vicky agreed to line producer. And then we've had navigated some difficult challenges. We navigated COVID. We were about the second show out on COVID. We navigated both the writer and the SAG strike, which was a very difficult season. And after that, I was rewarded with associate producer PM. So it's been a wonderful trajectory so far. I've been very lucky.
Cool. So you've really climbed the ladder specifically on that one show.
Every rung. Well, not just on one show. I landed at When Calls the Heart as a first AD.
Mm-hmm.
I cut my teeth as a PM with Sidney Harmon on the 5 lifetime MOWs, no question. And then, yes, my continued upward trajectory has been with When Calls the Heart. When Calls the Heart's an amazing group of people, and just I couldn't have asked for a better show and a better place to land. Frankly, I count my lucky stars every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard good things about that show.
It's a family, and we've created a collaborative environment for everybody to succeed in. Like, film people are type A personalities. Mm-hmm. They don't fail easily. And for those of us that are long in the tooth, we remember film as a fighter's pit. There is a time, and I have some, funny training stories that, don't equate to training at all. And that had a shaping effect at one time on people, and it could be a confrontational place, and that's the antithesis of collaboration. So, when I made the transition from first AD, I love being a first AD. I did it from the mission statement of we are the solution-oriented bastions of calm. So
it's a good word for it.
The sky's going to fall. It's just going to happen. We open up the backs of trucks and we make imagination happen, and then pack it up and come back tomorrow and do a whole new page of it, or 10. Things are going to go wrong, and Murphy's Law loves a film set. So it's not a good place to be reactionary. It's a good place to be solution-oriented, gracefully calm, and accommodating of those holy crap moments. And look ahead and back to the type A personality. So film people, they don't fail easily. What brings about failure is one link in the chain, a vendor, a piece of equipment, it can be any kind of thing, letting them down. And now they're failing. And that's, 2% of their total representation for you, because the other 98% of the time they're delivering heroics over a 12-hour day. That in the old film industry, sometimes in that 2%, people would point fingers and play blame games, and it would become an unfair circumstance that really wasn't solution-oriented or directed at, okay, well, this has happened. Now how do we move forward? It was all sort of directed at blame and things that are not productive. You create a circumstance different than that, where the minute one of the cogs is suddenly in the machine has suddenly broken down, and now somebody is struggling to be successful, well, you're surrounded by creative, intelligent people who have a depth of experience. Don't tell the mechanic how to fix the car. It's one of my mission statements as a PM. Hire good mechanics, and then say, how do I fix this car? And within 5 minutes, in most cases, you're going to have a new direction that you can move in, or something that works. The collaboration can create miracles. So the thing that I've come to love about being a PM is creating an environment where that is a constant and nurtured thing, and it makes people want to come to work. It makes people excited about their day. I have, on When Calls the Heart, I have crew that I couldn't possibly afford to get, with depths of resumes that, I'm just, they could be on bigger shows. There's no question. Making a little bit more money, no question. They come because of the family we have, the work environment we have, the cast and crew. The cast are amazing. Our ensemble cast are just wonderful. The whole sort of environment is what they come for. And as a result, I'm able to get a band back together every year that I just am very lucky and grateful to have, no question.
Yeah, I know this industry has got a history of kind of being a toxic workplace, and I've been on some of those sets where it's very toxic, feel like as an industry, we're kind of moving towards
It's
trying
much
to
better.
get away from that.
It's much better.
So it's
No
cool
question
that,
across the board, it's much better.
that you guys are able to like put together a show that's and making that work.
Takes investiture by everybody. Like from the point of hire where you say, okay, we do things. There's one thing we don't do here, and these are some of the things from the past that we don't buy into here. So we're not going to play that game, and you have to sign on for that. And in those moments where you're because you've taken a punch in the gut and you're like not ready for that, that's the moment you've signed on for to not be that person. That's the moment you've signed on for to be graceful and say, okay, moving forward.
What's your show Wind Calls the Heart about?
It's about women's stories on the frontier. So our main character is Elizabeth Thornton, and she's a school teacher. And it's about the trials and tribulations that occur in a small little town called Hope Valley. And, you know, the sort of many little stories and little romances and fun occurrences that happen as they navigate their lives in this small town. We have an amazing cast. They have created some truly memorable characters. And they're just a pleasure to work with on set. So it's a very fortunate show.
And it's a difficult thing to make a movie, but to work it into a contemporary movie, to go in a movie that takes place in the past, that's a whole other challenge in and of itself.
It's really nice to do period pieces. I frankly have always loved them. I mean, it comes with challenges. The vehicles we work with, the Model Ts, are 110 years old. It's difficult to keep a 110-year-old vehicle running.
I bet.
But again, you hire good mechanics.
Yeah.
Yeah, our transport guys are amazing. It's family stories. And I think there's always a place and market for family stories.
Yeah, definitely. So what kinds of stories inspire you, made you get into film?
Well, it inspired me to get into film. I just love the medium of filmmaking and creation. I'm an old world sci-fi geek, which is kind of a limited genre, frankly. If you're looking for, you know, real art history and scope and things like that, there aren't a lot of, you know, Lawrence of Arabia's in the science fiction world. But there's some really good ones. I mean, both the Blade Runners, each of them were signature in their own way. And the stories were, you know, had depth. Dune, both makings of Dune had incredible merit, and Villeneuve's is, I mean, the scope in his is really quite intense, and the performances are amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I eat some of that stuff up. I mean, those are pretty classic examples. But yeah, it's being a bit of a science fiction geek. Those would be the movies that I think are cool, and the challenges they present. Like, that's one of the things I love about film. Is there are a lot of times over the course of my career, you know, where I've gotten an early script or something and I've been reading it and I've been like, the hell are we going to do that? and then you get into a room with a bunch of people, a VFX guy and some practical guys and, you know, maybe an animatronics and some fabricators and some miniature guys. I mean, some of that's old school stuff that doesn't happen so much anymore. But before you know, in a couple of weeks, there's sort of like a vision about, hey, here's how all these moving parts are going to come together. And son of a gun, if that dinosaur isn't going to eat that puppy. Wow.
Well, like, I think every single person who's on a film set, they're all problem solvers. Like, every position. It doesn't matter whether you're directing or you're just spending all day trying to solve problems, right?
Yeah. And there's a depth of experience there that you can absolutely tap if you remove fear from the work environment, which is something that was present in the film industry I started in, and I've seen lessen greatly over the course of my career. And if it's not there, if people just have the freedom to ask questions and offer, you know, within reason. Suggestions on, hey, look, I understand this is how we've always done this, but I have a new idea on how we could do this. And I've seen that occur in a few areas where if you don't start with no, if you start with, okay, well, let's walk this through and see what that looks like, you end up in you end up in a better place. Mm-hmm. I've encountered that a lot of times, actually. So
yeah. Of all your projects that you worked on, which one was your favorite to be on?
When Calls the Heart, without a doubt. I've worked on some really fun ones. I remember When Calls the Heart. I love that show for the cast, the crew, the people I work for. One location all season isn't a bad thing. Mm-hmm. Like we have a very nice town out of Jamestown, 19 standing sets. There's a lot to love in that show. I've landed in a very, very good place. But along the way, I've had some shows that I've really enjoyed. I was second AD on Beggars and Choosers, and it had a really cool cast. And it was a really neat idea and good people involved. It was a lot of fun. I did second unit, first AD for Final Destination.
Oh, yeah.
We did the stunt and effects stuff. And the first Final Destination. And for one of those, we had a gimbal DC-9 fuselage that would go to a 75-degree angle and shake. We had a thing that would pop seats out one wall and blow when the people got sucked out and the wall. Like we saw some amazing stuff on that show. It was sort of pre-CGI and everything else. So for the water creeping gag in the bathroom, we literally we tried it for a whole day, trying to shoot it in just tie on little pieces, and then we gimbaled a whole bathroom stage to get the water creeping along the tile in the way we wanted, a fully gimbaled bathroom stage. There were I remember as third assistant director on Jumanji, the first Jumanji with Robin Williams. The effects guys had built these big steel blue, because it was blue screen back then, rhinoceroses on a ram to go through the bookshelf in the house. And
that's how they did that stuff.
It was amazing. That's why I love the stunt and special effects units as first AD, because you got to do some really neat stuff.
Oh, you definitely those are the fun units to be on when you're blowing
you had to
stuff
dig in
up.
on safety.
Yeah,
and you certainly had to have more meetings on the regular stuff. But yeah, you'd get there and it would just be. You're making real magic. That's what I guess what it felt like.
Yeah.
You were making real magic.
Some clever problem solving.
It's effects guys and stunt guys, stunt coordinators. I'm actually glad that stunt coordinators and stunts have finally gotten recognition and they're being suggested for inclusion at the Oscars, because that's long overdue.
Yeah,
there are moments that we have created where the cast members felt to be in the frame. But it's not. It's a stunt person in real jeopardy in most cases. They're all very well planned, calculated risks. But as we know, Murphy's Law loves a film set. And when personal safety is at risk, that's the last place you want it to strike, but it still does.
Yeah.
So yeah, they absolutely deserve recognition. They're part of the magic.
Yeah, and like some of the stuff that they do is just impressive.
I've seen guys go out backwards 16-story windows, no wire, landing in a pad, like a big airbag pad, of course. But yeah, I've seen them, as a matter of course of their employment, have to be fearless and then do it again and again. That takes salt, man.
Everybody's
the
in
men
awe.
and women alike. It's not just guys.
Yeah, everybody's in awe of the stuntmen for sure.
It's got a special mystique. There's no question. It's a tough job, though. They're all tough jobs. Like the camera guys who came up in the day when they were carrying around a small child, and they got back problems and shoulder problems, and most of the stunt people I know, I mean, they know a good everything: kinesiologist, physiotherapist, chiropractor, masseuse, because just like playing professional sports, it comes with knocks that some of them you're going to feel. Yeah.
So what do you have in your personal toolkit that like makes things safer and prevents the various knocks from Murphy from coming in and messing up your sets?
Well, Murphy bites you in the ass whether you like it or not. That's where having a solution-oriented collaborative crew comes in really handy. because there are lots of shows and periods in our series where pivot has been our mantra. Because as this is changing or that is changing, we can't lock this down and we have to be fluid on this. Pardon me. You're always ready to pivot. I mean, you're always carrying plans A through C. My crew's probably a few people will probably joke about this, but I'm a great believer in redundancy. We're a lot like NASA. So if you remember that scene in The Martian where they're like, we have to prepare the resupply shuttle, and this is, we need, how long do you need? And the guy comes back, well, we need about 6 months. And okay, great, you got 6 weeks. That's film. So I'm a great believer in redundancy because NASA got a very long way on redundancy. So if this isn't a lock, well, then great, let's install redundancy. Then we don't even have to worry about it. If we can see the train coming and if information is flowing freely and people aren't afraid to speak up and say, might be missing a track on this one, I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to be able to hit that deadline. Well, great, okay. You hit that deadline, please. But we'll install a redundancy so that we, have somewhere to go should that not occur. And the people in film are amazing with keeping those many plates in the air. Okay, we're going to do this, but if that isn't going to work out because of whatever reason, weather or whatever, then we're going to do this. And they're really, really good at being able to multitask that on many fronts. I find people in the film industry, professionals in the film industry, have a malleability of multitasking that at a level of constant productivity that you see rarely elsewhere.
And every time I build a camera and at the rental house putting things together, I always say that they give you one cable of everything. I'm like, no, one is none. Like you need redundancy in that. That's good advice.
Redundancy will get you there.
Yeah. Speaking of advice, what advice would you give to any up and coming filmmakers who see your work and want to get into that?
Mentorship is important, and work ethic is important. Film is a very you should know going in what you're looking for. So when I originally went to university, I wanted to be a lawyer, and I took pre-law as in my first 2 years. And my uncle was the one who said to me, "Have you actually talked to any lawyers about what they do for a living?" And he was a very wealthy contract lawyer, and he said, "If I had it to do over again, I would become a mechanic like my kid and just wash the day off my hands at the end of the day." Because from his perspective, law isn't about what I thought it was. It isn't about justice. It isn't about helping people. It's about uncomfortable compromise. And I spoke to 19 lawyers. Not one of them recommended the job. It was horribly, I was so disillusioned. So I finished a business degree, then did a year and a half of English education, and then came out and became a PA and went into film. And boy, did I choose right. But I think film is a job that's easy to romanticize, just like being a veterinarian. You want to help animals, but the practice of being a veterinarian is primarily dealing with animals in distress, and they don't know you're helping them. And that might not jive with what you've romanticized this career of helping animals to be. Film, I think, can be like that. There was a great poster of what a first AD does, and it has many different pictures from the many different perspectives, and the one is on the jet with the champagne and it's like, well, it's so not that. Another one is accepting the award and it's so not that, and then you go through all of these little snippets of what people view the being an assistant director is as, and then you get to the end, and the last picture is one of these Italian guys standing out in a field or in an intersection with traffic all over around him, and he's directing the traffic, and that's basically what the job is. So to somebody coming into film, I would say first make sure you're passionate about it, because you invest a great portion of your life in this career just because of how its days are structured. We shoot a 12-hour camera day. That's kind of an unforgiving thing. So being passionate is what's going to see you through those long 12-hour days. I think that's a great place to start. And then mentorship. It's a very, very complex field. I could not have advanced in any of the areas I advanced as an assistant director, as a PM or a line producer without the teachings of the people above me to prepare me to be successful in that role. And as a young filmmaker, when I was still a PA, well, even today, I mean, it's not like this ever stops. You seek out the people who are where you want to be next. So when I was a third assistant director, it was seconds, and when I was a second assistant director, I was like watching first like a hawk, and when I had my eye on PM, although I'd been a first for a long time, I sort of knew what a good PM looked like. I sort of drilled in on what's working for the successful ones and what's not working for the people who aren't getting second shows. Mm-hmm. And mentors. I mean, I could not have made any of the journey that I've made without asking questions of people in film and in the Directors Guild field, like in the Directors Guild, the DGC, Directors Guild of Canada. And I find this to be true of most of the Vancouver film community. This is my personal experience coming up in the DGC, but I've seen this in so many other areas that I think it's really a Vancouver film community thing, maybe a film community in general thing. But they're incredibly giving people. They will, if you ask, share mentorship. They will, if you ask them what makes a good first AD, they'll give you half a dozen things that, this is what I think makes a good first AD. And you can ask that of a whole bunch of different people, and they will just openly share with you what their thoughts are. Mm-hmm. And there are many that will take an interest in you. Like Alan Harmon, who was the head of our guild, I would not be surprised to find out that there are literally 50 ADs out there that would cite Alan Harmon as an influence, a positive influence, and somebody who they feel had championed them at some point. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of people like that in our industry. And finding those people and investing in their mentorship will fill your toolbox. And the more full your toolbox, the more ready you are for whatever challenge is thrown at you.
Mm-hmm. What was your favorite? Because I know the third AD job, the second AD job, the first AD job they're all very, very different.
I love being first AD.
Yeah.
I love running the floor. Yeah, it's still, even when I, although I did like being a second AD because a second AD is sort of the first time you really sink your teeth into putting it together and having an opinion on how it all fits and you start to learn the artistry of scheduling and things like that. I really enjoyed being a second AD, and you have some autonomy. Mm-hmm. It's one of the rare AD roles where you have autonomy. Like as a TAD, you're chained to the first AD in the set. As a third assistant director, you're at the trailers and the cast. As a second assistant director, well, you're floating. You're where you needed to be. If the set needs support, you're on set. And if you got nothing to do, you're on set. But when you're putting together tomorrow and you're making sure we're ready 3 days hence, and I liked sort of there's it's dynamic, but at the same time there's a routine, and you're autonomous in a way. That doesn't happen in a lot of roles in film, so I did enjoy that. But I love running the floor as first AD.
When I find too the AD department kind of like time shifts where like the second AD is living in the future and the third AD is living in the past. And the first is present. That's
the job. The first AD puts it together, make sure that the second AD, does checks and make sure that they agree. And if there's a seasoned second AD, you'll absolutely run things by your second AD that you're not 100% sure of. Mm-hmm. I want your take on this. I respect your opinion. Yeah, first AD though is though you're chained to the set. I never minded that. You're staying ahead of everything, and you're in charge of the information and timing to help keep every department successful. And if you do that with a comprehensive attention to detail, people feel constantly set up for success. They're more forgiving when Murphy's Law strikes, and they're like, well, we're ahead of the game. In most cases, this is good. Something exciting's happened. Let's figure this out. Rather than circumstances that we've all been in where maybe that information isn't flowing as freely, and there's tension because nobody really knows what's coming next, and they feel like they have to be ready for anything at any given time, and that has an attrition over time. So yeah, I love being a first. It was really one of my favorite jobs. When I think I already mentioned my mission statement. We are the solution-oriented bastions of calm. When I moved into PMing, I initially took time. It took time to figure out, okay, what is it in this position that I cherish and love? Like first thing, and Winkhouse Heart was actually a beautiful environment for that to happen in, because very quickly it was, well, it's this work environment that if nurtured and supported and adhered to, like, if somebody loses it, that's not okay. We're gonna have a chat. That's not how we work and play well with others here. Mm-hmm. And just because, if you're an old dog, well, I'm sorry. We're in a new playground, and none of that old dog stuff is going to fly. You're going to have to change your spots, and that's all there is to it. So I'm very grateful now for the work environment and hearing crew. Like recently, I won't name names, but I had a member of my crew, a high-level member of my crew, say that they're just immensely looking forward to coming back to set this year to the show. Mm-hmm. Because it's a family.
Yeah.
Like I could not ask for anything more than that.
You're doing something right when people are excited to come back.
Well, everybody. Yeah. I mean, you try and set a tone, you try and reinforce it, but it takes investiture by everybody. Mm-hmm. Like everyone has to show up and be that person every day in a trying circumstance, because film is not a forgiving place.
Yeah.
That takes chutzpah, real moxie. Yeah, but I'm surrounded by that, and I'm really lucky.
What's next for you? What's your next plan to step up that ladder?
Well, I would love to be Vicky Sutherland, who has taken me under her wing and mm-hmm. and allowed me to run her flagship show and taught me along the way. Really taught me along the way. I would love to become her, and that's something that our industry, I think, needs. Is she's done a terrific job of sort of grandfathering me into where I am now, and helping me with any rough edges I might have had along the way to do it right and better. Mm-hmm. I think our industry particularly needs that in areas like Canadian service companies for film, mm-hmm. which is what we technically are. We need more, houses that people can bring projects to, that can execute them in our market for them with passion and an eye on the bottom line, and an understanding that things come as different size ponds, and you just need to understand what size pond you're playing in, and then try and deliver as many fish in that pond as you can. Mm-hmm. And then finding people who can play in that pond. With not everybody is able to scale. There are some people that are just amazing if you have over $10 million. And it's like, wow, I want that person. But not everybody can scale for the size of the pond. And I think that's something that our industry does very well here, is we're able to service high-end, $10 to $100 million projects. By 10, I mean by episodic numbers. Mm-hmm. Or overall large features, $100 million products. But we're also able to very well operate in the very difficult, 1 to 1.5 million 15-day MOW field. Mm-hmm. And we're also able to deliver beautifully in the 5 million MOW field and the 3.5 independent features under 6 million. There really doesn't seem to be, we don't seem to be niched. We seem to have a tremendous capacity here to succeed regardless of the size of the pond we're dealt. And that's a very, very flexible workforce that I think is a little bit taken for granted in Hollywood North.
Yeah, like I think definitely with after the strike and this slowdown, I see the wins of like all the studios tightening their belts, and there's going to be smaller budgets coming our way, and we just have to deal with that.
That was coming. I mean, the all of the streamers have been operating on sort of a new media construct since early 2000s. They haven't changed much. And then they pulled the sanctions on Russia, and Netflix dropped 725,000 subscriptions, and their share price like that showed it. And all of a sudden, all of the streamers got scared because they're like, oh my gosh, we're not bulletproof.
Yeah.
And then we had a pandemic where they everybody lost market share. I mean, the networks and streamers together lost almost $500 billion over the course of the COVID. And then we had a year with dual strikes. And not everybody saw the writer's strike coming. The writers are usually out for 100 days. So if you don't plan ahead for that, well, then not only are you stuck when they go out for 100 days, but then you got to get them back and prepare product. And then you're in, an 18-month pipeline from that point to something. So they come back from the strike, and a lot of networks weren't really prepared for that. So a lot of people were then suddenly trying to generate product quickly. But at the same time, all of the streamers had lost market share and been scared a little bit by Disney, I think. I mean, Disney saw their share price almost halve, but a big portion of that was Mickey Mouse finally going public domain. But still, it rattled everybody. And they stopped buying. And so immediately after COVID and the strikes, we found ourselves in this period where there wasn't really a lot of distribution occurring. There wasn't really a lot of sale happening. And a lot of these products that come out for sale on sort of a 2-year timeline. That's what they need a distribution deal to qualify for their tax credit. There's a few I's to dot there and T's to cross. So last year, if you were going to be producing something, spec production, you didn't have a preemptive distribution deal. Well, then you were going to be coming onto the distribution market along with product that's been sitting there for 18 months and isn't going to stale date for another 6 and is starting to red tag against your new product. Yeah. And it just doesn't make sense. So the spec production as a result was also killed last year. And now that buying has returned, that's coming back. But there was just no point in producing anything last year.
Well, like last year I heard that Disney Plus finally had their first profitable quarter after being out in the world for several years and going several $billion into debt. It's like,
and some of the streamers did that on purpose. They understood that they were entering a saturated market and they were prepared to take losses. And Disney made some very interesting choices along the way in product content that I think slowed their progression, I would say.
I know, like the Willow TV series. I liked the movie, which was kind of a bit sleeper hit when it came out.
It was.
And the TV show that they did, it was different, but it was kind of nice. And then Disney pulled it. And it's like, well, you'll never make, like, you can't buy it on DVD. You can't buy it on iTunes, or you can't find it on YouTube. It doesn't exist anymore.
They just made some interesting choices. They really did.
Yeah.
They almost floundered for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And then seemed to, and didn't listen to their fan base at all, which is remarkable when you think about some of the products that they took over. And you can't let your fan base dictate where you're going to go. That's never going to be a recipe for success. There's no making all of the people happy all of the time.
Yeah.
But still, when you inherit classic legacy, there is probably a path to homage there that you could stay on that would keep you in sort of good form with all, and too much deviation from that changes it. Not everybody's willing to accept that.
Yeah. It's this weird collection of art and business trying to merge into the same place at the same time.
Yeah. And some of it they tried to mainstream, and some of it's not mainstreamable. So,
well, Mike, thank you for coming on the show today.
We got enough?
I think so.
All right, awesome.
I think that was good.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Cool. My pleasure.
Well, that about wraps it up for another episode of Crew Tales, Life in the Circus. I'd like to thank our producers Dustin Schwinnard and Dustin Girton, as well as our technical producer Rob Hunt. I'm Brad Hodson. Thank you for joining us.